Hey guys, and welcome to episode 6 of Zildjian Chats. In this episode, I'm chatting to Sage Weeber, a drummer based in Los Angeles, California. Now, Sage plays for Nessa Barrett, Landon Barker, which is Travis Barker's son. He's recently played for Avril Lavigne. He is in his band Point North, and he has just announced he's playing for Keizo next year, which he kind of touched on during our chat, but didn't announce it until after our chat. He's also played for Andy Black. Now, I've watched him over the last couple of years just get these gigs and build his career up, and he's absolutely killing it now. So I was really stoked to be able to chat to him and kind of pick his brain and see what he's doing to kind of get ahead, get these gigs and kick his career in the arse and really make some moves. So he's a legend of a guy, great drummer. He drops some great knowledge in this. If you're a drummer, a musician, he shares lots of great things. He's a great musical director, we touch on that. And we also pull apart the drum part for Point North's cover of the song Hammer. And we discuss that, and he breaks down kind of how he approaches drum parts. He also talks about what it's like playing Travis Barker's drum parts. So obviously he plays for Landon, he plays most recently with Avril Lavigne and Nessa Barrett, so he's kind of playing a lot of Travis's drum parts. So he lets us know a couple of things that Travis does that you might not pick up on when listening to the track, but when you're actually playing it and learning it, you kind of pick up on these subtle little things. So he shares a few cool little secrets like that. Great chat. Sage is a king. This is a great episode. Let's get stuck into it. Brother.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Very well, brother. Lovely to see your face, bro.
Yeah, man. Can you hear me all good?
Mate, I've got you very, very nicely. I got you nicely. Cool. Mate, how you doing?
Good. All is well. I'm currently in production rehearsals for Nessa. So, yeah.
Nice one. So, we'll jump straight in, man. I saw your schedule the other day. You're just hopping between Nessa, Landon, like hectic.
Yeah.
So what's the go with that? Obviously they're both in the same city with the rehearsals. So are you rehearsing in the same building, or is it spread across town, or?
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, man.
Actually not. So I'm doing things like getting up in the morning, having sessions at 9 a.m. to like 12, and then Nessa's over at Third Encore Mates, and then I do that from like 12:05. And then go straight to Landon from like 6 to 10. Yeah, at center staging. Yeah.
Wow, bro. So that's hectic. That's awesome. That's like the drummer's. That's like the drummer's dream, man. You're doing 2 epic gigs, and you're just splitting your days between both. So, are you getting ready for tours? Are you getting ready for shows? What are you kind of working on with those guys?
So Nessa has a show at the El Rey in LA, and this is all leading around like When We Were Young Fest. So just rehearsals for that. And Landon had a show at the Roxy, which was like super crazy. And all these guests came out. MGK came out. Travis came out. And yeah, it's just been wild. Like just doing rehearsals for like those 2 events each. And then When We Were Young is like the bow on top of everything. It's crazy. Yeah.
Mate, insane. Hey, I've got some footage of that show. I'm going to jump right in. So, yeah, here we go. Tell us about that. So I've been following you for a while, and from what I can gather, was that Landon's first actual show? Like the first show he did was like tell us about that other show you did with him and this show.
So the first show I did with him was like a collab he did. It was for Boohoo Man. I think that's how you say it.
Right.
He had done a show at the Roxy that was like friends and him, like kind of the test show. I wasn't there for that. Mm-hmm. He reached out to me like via Instagram and was like, hey, like I wanted you to play drums for me, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. And the Boohoo Man was the next event in Hollywood, and then we just did the Roxy. That was like the actual like production live show. This is Landon's show event. So
Sick.
And the turnout was incredible.
Mate, what an absolute honor to play for the GOAT's son. You've got the GOAT's blessing. What does that feel like?
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
I bet. Hey,
it's cool. I love Landon though. Like,
yeah,
he's dope. Yeah.
Have a look at this. I just saw this on your story too. I just got to throw this in there, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is so wild. Two things. So I guess that's the other angle from the angle we shot earlier. So you've got your back angle of the kit looking out. That's the angle of the audience looking in, and not only the audience looking in, but I'm gathering Travis Barker, the GOAT, and Kourtney Kardashian. Like, when you're playing, are you thinking, oh my God, Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian are watching me? Or what? Does that cross your mind?
So a little backstory of this show. We're like in the dressing room and they're like hanging out. Like Travis is warming up, I'm warming up. Like it's like a whole thing. And Travis came up to play a song with Landon, with like Landon's like original song.
Mm-hmm.
And total cool moment. Like I have to get off. We fist bump. He gets on the kit, and then like we trade off, and it's like this is so wild, bro. And Kourtney's cool. Travis is like a legend, and they're just so sweet and nice, and that whole family's incredible.
Wow. Are you like calling like your parents or whatever, going, Mom, guess what happened last night? Are you still doing that kind of stuff?
I told my mom about the gig when I got called. Like Landon hit me up, and I was like, "Oh, this like Landon hit me up." She's like, "Who?" You know. And my dad is a drummer, so he was like, "This is the coolest shit ever." Like, I love this, and it's just awesome. I think it doesn't click for them until they see video footage.
Yep.
And I don't know. And I think now they're kind of realizing like what that means as a drummer to play with Landon.
Yeah.
And who he is, and even for me, dude, it's gnarly because it's like he could call anyone.
Yeah, man.
I'm still here.
What an epic honor. And I'm sure he had chats to his dad going, "What do you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy?" And he's, you know, I'd assume that, and his dad would be like, "He's sick. Reach out."
I had no idea how he found me. Like I haven't asked yet.
Right. Okay.
I've asked like his engineer, and I've asked like his friends, and they're like, "Oh, I have no idea." I woke up. I got the gig with Landon because it was a 3 a.m. like Instagram message, and he was like, "Hey, dude, like, what are you doing? Do you want to play drums for me?" And I was like, "It was crazy." I thought it was like a fan account that like messaged me.
That's so funny, man. Well, congrats, man, because that's
Thank you.
That's huge as a drummer to another drummer. Like grabbing that gig and what that means as a drummer is mind blowing. So, well done, brother. And as I said, I've been watching you. I've been watching the rise of you, brother, from afar, from the other side of the world, and it's awesome, bro. So that's one thing, obviously, that's been happening. Now, I figured we'd start at the start and maybe work our way kind of back a little bit because that show just happened and that show was epic, and I just kind of wanted to chat about that. But obviously, we'll do Point North. We'll cover that in depth a little later. But let's go to Nessa Barrett. So that's obviously another massive gig you've grabbed, and you're hugely busy with her, currently rehearsing with her. How did that come about? What's that like? Are you the MD? Are you the drummer? Are you both? Tell us a little bit about that gig.
Nessa's funny. I've been with her since like day one, rehearsal one.
Sick.
They needed a band and they needed a drummer, and I was just the guy that called. It was crazy. And so yeah, we've been here ever since. And so basically with that gig, I started as a drummer, and we had her producer Evan kind of like building the show and running it. And then as time went on, I kind of just took over the position, and then now I'm officially like music director, drummer with Nessa. But I've been with her since like EP1. Yeah, like before that. It's crazy.
So how long ago was that?
Not too long. I think like September of last year. Yeah.
Okay. And was that literally like they needed a drummer, and you heard on the grapevine and you reached out, or did someone hit you up, or?
It's crazy. I feel like all the sit gigs that I've gotten have been so easy. Like no
Yeah.
audition process, just kind of like show up, you know. But with
Sick.
Nessa was that case. A guitar player friend of mine named Dan, who plays now for 21 Pilots, he was kind of like, there's this girl named Nessa Barrett. They're putting a band together, and they just want to test out a drummer. Can you come to these rehearsals to learn these 7 songs, which became the EP, and then I've been here ever since. It's like so simple. Yeah.
Man, awesome.
Yeah.
And in terms of the MD stuff, I've seen you post multiple times about your playback rigs, you know, all that kind of stuff, and that stuff's intriguing to me because I do a little bit of that with the group I play for, but it's not as in depth as what you do. What you do is like the next step and beyond, and I know there's quite a lot to it, and it's quite complex. I know that as you kind of, there's less people doing that than there is playing drums, right? So if you're a drummer and you can do the playback stuff as well, you're like much more of a valuable kind of member to a group. So tell us a little bit about how you got into like that type of, like, how did you gain your knowledge with that?
Oh, dude, you're gonna love this story.
Yeah.
So in typical fashion, I got offered a gig for 2019. It was Andy Black. They were like, we need someone who can be road music director, play drums, and run the tracks. And I just said, yeah. I'd never seen Ableton in my entire life.
Yeah,
So,
good boy. Nice, mate.
I was in Melbourne, actually, yeah. And,
No way.
I have family there. Yeah.
In Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
You are kidding me. Hold
I'm
up.
not even playing.
How many, like, who's here?
Just my uncle, but still.
Wow.
Like,
sick.
Yeah.
Mate, that's where
So
I'm
I was
from.
visiting him.
Mm.
Yeah, I was visiting him, and I got the offer for the gig, and it was just kind of like, say yes, figure out later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got into the MD world. I learned Ableton at 3 a.m. for a week straight. You know, like everyone went to bed, and I stayed up. And it was so funny too. I had to learn it and build the show, and then turn the show into the lighting director in like a week. So it was a whole thing. And then ever since then, that's how I learned. And I always tell people too, like, that's how you get gigs. Like, if you want more gigs, learn playback, learn music directing, and learn Ableton.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still kind of foreign to like the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess drummers too. And but yeah, so not to ramble. That's how I started.
That's not a ramble, man. That's actually quite short, considering how in depth it is and whatnot. So So with that first Ableton gig with Andy Black, you obviously built the show. You had the stems or whatever, pieced it together, delivered it to the sound guy. Then after that, did you learn about redundancy systems and backup laptops and all?
Man.
Yeah, it's a whole can of worms.
Change everything I did but now, that'd be great. But I can't, so yeah. Just in my journey as like an MD and Ableton enthusiast, I feel like you like drumming, you always want to get better at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So with Ableton, I learned about redundancy, lowering CPU, like new trigger modules, like all that stuff, and automation. And yeah, man, that gig planted the seed for my mind to grow with what I learned from Ableton. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah,
that makes sense.
It does make sense, because I know it's like, it can be quite a long journey. You start here and there's a whole lot of things along the way. Like, oh my God, there's redundancy systems? What?
That blew my mind, dude.
Yeah.
The first gig I ever did with redundancy, and it like worked. And it failed over.
No way.
I was like, I'm never going back, man. Yeah.
No way. That's crazy, man.
Crazy.
It is, bro.
The first time I ever... What do you say?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you go.
The first time I ever did television performance, I didn't do a backup laptop. Actually.
And it was all good, though?
Yeah, like, praise, man. It, like, worked. But I ran the song. It wasn't even like a TV session. It was like a master session of, like, 20 songs. No redundancy. I just, like, hit spacebar on the song we had. No set was stabbed. Anything like that. Yeah.
And so what? And with that one, did it just start at the start of the set and just go through? Or did it stop at the end of each song?
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was it was for Late Night with Seth Meyers. We were playing one song like this arrangement, out of these 20 arrangements in one session.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to like click the marker of the song, hope it was the right song, and hit spacebar. No backup laptop. It was terrifying thinking back now. And then I did Ellen after that, and I was like, I'm never not doing redundant ever again.
Wow. And so for you, being MD and drummer, right?
Yeah.
I'm asking you this because I feel the same. When you're dropping the tracks and you're in charge of the tracks, it's much more stressful than just jumping up and hitting a few drums, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole show's on your back.
But here's the thing I've learned. It's true, though. Yeah. I've learned that, like, especially with Nessa, I've been here for so long, that there's a trust that's built within the camp, in management, in the band, and you and the artists. So I'm a little less worried about, like, doing crazy arrangements and building the show, because it's worked in the past. And I have a weird, like, not weird, but there's a level of like respect and trust within everyone, especially as a music director now. So it's almost fun. I don't get scared anymore. But for new gigs, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. Yeah,
100%. Now, let's roll on to this little ripper. Here we go. Have a look at this.
Taste it. Oh, you should've known better to fuck with someone like me. Oh,
How's that for a lane switch, mate? Boom, straight onto Avril. Tell us about. I just saw that pop up on your Insta the other week as well. I was like, my God, there's nothing stopping this guy. Like, who else can he play for? It just doesn't end.
So people always ask me about Avril, and I say like one of the sweetest, most professional, iconic people. And I just, what do you want to know? Like
So like that show, like what was that show? Was it just that track? Was it a TV performance? How did it come about? What was the rehearsal process? Was there a rehearsal process? Did you just get chucked straight in the deep end and you're on TV? Like, how did all that go?
So I was playing a show. I remember it was so weird. I have been wanting to play drums for Avril for like so long. Like I've almost like manifesting it. Yeah. But I've known her manager forever.
Right.
And he reached out to me one day on Instagram and was like, "Are you here on the 30th? Like for this thing?" Didn't say it was Avril. And I thought it was like another artist he managed or whatever. But so he hit me up and was like, "We're doing the song with Avril, Bite Me. No rehearsal. Can you show up to this performance and just learn the song and play it?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course."
Sweet.
Yeah. That run through you saw was like the first time we played it together. Yeah.
So literally on stage,
crazy.
Cameras on, lights on, go.
Yep.
Man,
that was like, I'm sure you've dealt with this too. Like, learn it. We're hiring you because we trust you, and just make it happen. And it went great. She's a sweetheart too. And I remember she came up to my drums and was like, "Hi, like I'm Avril, like nice to meet you." And I was like, "Oh wow, this is crazy." Yeah.
That's epic.
But that's how it came about. Yeah.
Epic, man. And with that rehearsal process, you were just in the room smacking that song out over and over?
Yeah, bro. I think
like how many times we
talking?
talking?
Like a week straight.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And then just hammered it over and over again.
Well, I think the one thing that they wanted it to be was like verbatim to the song, because the dancers had learned the songs and the lights were cued to it. So there was like, learn these hits, learn these fills, just kind of do it straight to the song. And so I listened to it and practiced it every day for like a week straight. Yeah.
Yeah, and, nice.
By the time it came in though, it was like brushing your teeth.
Yeah, easy. You know? And when you were learning it verbatim like that, did you find that there were certain things in the drum track that were a little bit different to how you'd play them, and it was a little bit unusual playing them? Was there any of that stuff in there?
Yeah, it's funny. You'll laugh at this because like I feel like nowadays I'm playing so many things that Travis has done. So I know how he's going to set things up, or he's going to like how he plays the cymbal or like certain fills or where his stops and pauses are.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely helped a lot with the
Yep.
learning process. But like anything, like what you think it's going to be is typically never what it is. So I had to sit down. Like, it's so overkill, but I took like one day I just learned the verses. Like I just played the verses so they were spot on. And I wouldn't do this for like a show. Like, but for this performance and management wanting me to be like that, like I was going to do it.
You're on it.
Yeah.
Is there anything off the top of your head that is a signature Travis Barker kind of move from playing some of those tracks that like we might not know, or like you wouldn't really what did you learn from playing some of his tracks that you may not have learned from just listening to it? Because, you know, you listen to a track and you're like, it's cool, but then you actually go to play it and you're like, oh, whoa, I didn't really notice that.
If you want me to get like picky, I'm not going to give away all his secrets, but like, certain fills, like he does certain fills where it's like the twos on the hat and he rolls down the toms, or lots of choruses. He only hits a double crash once and just plays on the right crash like throughout the chorus, and that's like very weird little things I've learned. A lot of the similar kick patterns, and he sometimes doesn't crash on the one on like verses and stuff like that. He just goes straight to the hat or something. Like, it's so weird. That's so weird,
man. Like that stuff is bang on. Like, that is so cool to hear that, you know. I'm sure there's a reason for it. Probably doesn't want to come in too loud in the verse, wants emphasis on the vocal or something. Who knows? But it's that's drum nerd stuff that is cool, man. I love hearing that.
I feel like you'll understand.
Oh, sure. Big time, man. That's very cool to know, man.
Little insight for you.
Yeah. Now, I think I came across you because of USOD Williams' podcast, Disposable Heroes. I remember you did an episode on that. I remember listening to you on that. It was a while ago now, maybe years, maybe 2 years ago or something.
A lot has changed.
Yeah. I remember at that point it was Andy Black and Point North. Obviously, Point North, your main band. But how much of a lord is USOD?
He's incredible.
He's the man.
Yeah. He's the man. He's the man. Yeah.
Have you had a chance to hang out with him in LA anywhere?
Randomly at like one-off shows. I've never gone down to like where he's at and like we've gotten food or anything, but like we see each other at shows a lot, and he's just the boy. He's such
a lad.
Nice. He's like so good at what he does, and he's such a legend at like his style, and he's just who he is, man. He's a dope dude. How do you guys know each other?
I met him at NAMM in like 2018 or something.
Really?
Or maybe even 2017. It was a while ago, man. I met him in the Zildjian booth at NAMM. You know, at the back they have the little artist area where all the artists are.
Yeah.
I met him out there. He was doing. It might have been his first season of the Disposable Heroes podcast, and he was just doing snippets, like 15-minute chats with drummers out the back, and he had a quick chat to me, and I loved him, and we just got along really well, man. And I was going to see the guys at Audix Mics, and nice. I brought Yus with me. I was like, come and meet Audix, man. He's like, I love Audix Mics, and then he got hooked up with Audix. So, and then we
always down for the hang.
Yeah, man. And then we just chat quite a lot, and I've done his show a few times, and I've always wanted to catch up with him when I've gone back over, but I've just missed him. But anyone who's watching this who hasn't looked up Disposable Heroes podcast, I reckon that's my favorite drumming podcast, and I it's just because I love USOD. I think he's such a cool dude, and he knows everyone, and it's just a cool chat. Yeah. But now, considering this is a Zildjian podcast, let's move on to the next phase of the chat. Now, I've got this little video here, and it should be silent, but it may not be. Let's see how we go.
Okay.
All right. Now, I ask every person who jumps on the podcast about their cymbals. So I'll just pause it here. Tell us what you're using here. So this is for the Landon show.
Yes. It all depends per gig nowadays with me and Zildjian.
Mm-hmm.
But for this gig I was doing, so it had to be like a hybrid of Travis and I for the cymbals.
Mm-hmm.
So for this gig, I was using 15K light hats, which I do for Nessa as well. 18-inch cluster crash on the left, which is like my all-time favorite cymbal. I think it's incredible. I think it's like Eric at Zildjian was like, he recommended it to me because I cracked my sweet crash, and he's like, you need this cymbal, you need to try it. I think you'd love it. And I did. And 21A sweet ride, you know, it's just the goat cymbal. And then 20K dark crash for that gig. Yes.
Nice.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, man. It's the K's and A's I love. You know, I think they go very well together.
I don't really like trade off from those two.
Yeah. It's a very nice blend. It's a very nice blend. Now, you go.
I was gonna say I just recently got onto the Constantinoples. Is that what they're called?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
the top end.
So sick.
The top
so
end.
Dope. Yeah.
Mate, it's dipping your
So,
fingers
that's
in
like
the,
another
in the
little
top
thing
end.
I love now.
Yeah, I haven't dove into that yet, but I know that
it.
I would love them.
Try any of the 20-inch like medium thin Constantinople rides. Like, try it and let me know how you.
Yeah.
They're incredible. I love them. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I gotta hit up Justin, my guy out here,
Word.
and just maybe get my greedy little hands on one and see how we go. Hey,
I just got some new toys from them too.
Yeah. Well, I saw that. What did you grab?
So I got another pair of K Light 15s that are like fresh and new. I was sick of backlining them, so I got my own from them. And then Zildjian sent me this. I did Blue Ridge Fest with Point North. They had sent me this, like, I'll have to send you send you the picture to put it in. It was like this cymbal vault of like 20 cymbals. It was insane. But they sent me a 24K light ride, and I loved it. So I'm using it now for Nessa in production rehearsals. Yeah.
Wow. And with that, are you bit of crashing, bit of riding, bit of wash kind of vibe on that?
I use it more as like a slight bash with a little articulation for like the ride itself. I use my 21K suite right now as my right crash, which is crazy. Yeah.
Nice.
Huge.
Mate, huge. Nice.
Aaron Gillespie stuff.
Yeah, man. How good's Aaron Gillespie? Did you see his Zildjian video the other day that went up?
I love him, man.
Yeah.
He's like, Point North and Under Oath have done a bunch of festivals recently together. And I've always been like peeking at his kit and like seeing what he's using and stuff like that. He's another legend from my generation too. Like, I think he's incredible. He's such a nice guy. We've like shared a couple drinks at, in the artist lounge, and I'm just like, this is all I could ever ask for.
Yeah, man. I love his style of drumming.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty unique. He's obviously, it's heavy music, but I feel like there's a lot of space in what he does. There's not there's a lot of hits sometimes, but for the most part, it's kind of pretty wide open. Big sounding drums, just big hits. Super high energy. I don't think he
uses like bottom heads anymore.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. The last few times I've seen him, he's had no bottom heads on his scratch kit. It's insane. It sounds incredible.
Yeah,
like
it's
Aaron,
so big. Yeah. What a player, man.
He just beats drums like crazy.
Yeah. He does, man. He's epic to watch. Now, let's move the chat to Point North. So we'll start right now and move our way back. Now, you just did some shows across California. And, of course, you had our boy Christian open up.
Dude, the homie.
Yeah.
The best guy, man.
Yeah. What a legend. So that was awesome to see, man, because his new project is amazing. And you played drums for him as well. My God, you played drums for everybody. Mate, that was great. He said he had you playing drums. I was like, perfect, mate. Perfect.
Yeah.
Need someone awesome like you. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I played drums and all like the studio stuff.
Oh, epic.
And when it came time to like the Point North like tour, he's like, it only makes sense for you to do it. So, just because of me playing with Point North and we shared a kit and it was like I already knew the songs. He's a legend, and you've worked with him, you know him. Like he's a good dude, and this was like his first time playing live as that project.
Mhm.
So I was just so stoked to be a part of that and like watch him come out of his shell and
Yeah.
like, and you know, and just like be on stage and like learn what to say. And I like MD'd it. So in the tracks, I like put talk breaks that would be like, talk here, start the song here, you know,
Sick.
just so he was super comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Awesome. And how were the Point North shows? So after you played with Christian, how was that? 2 shows in one night?
I mean, Point North is such a weird place too, because it's like we think we don't have, like, we'll be like, I wonder how these shows are gonna go. Like, we don't know, and then all these kids show up and it goes crazy.
Sick.
We just did Aftershock, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I say this in a sense of how naive we are to our band.
Mhm.
We were playing at like 2:00 on one of the stages, and we're like, there's gonna be like 40, 50 people there. I think there was like 4,000 or something like that. I'll
Sick.
send you videos, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Send it across and I'll just chuck it as B-roll.
Cool. Yeah. And but yeah, with Point North, it's like I've been with Point North since we were like screen printing our own T-shirts, you know, in the garage, and it's now got to this point where we have a record out and we're touring and we're playing arenas with like A Day to Remember, and we're on buses now, and it's so fun. And those guys are like my brothers. I would do anything for them. I think that makes it even better too. Sorry, that makes sense, you know.
No, 100%. Like, that's your baby.
Yeah.
Point North is your baby. Yeah.
That's what I tell people. I tell people it's like my creative baby. Like, I play with all these people and I work with all these people, but that is like my child.
Yeah.
That you have 2 other parents with. You know?
100%. And I've actually got a song transcribed.
Okay.
Now, I selfishly did this because I was listening to this a lot when I came across it. So let's pull this one up, brother. And I'll just pause it and we'll just have a chat and we'll just watch a little bit of it.
Oh, I'm nervous.
No, it's sick. Okay, so before we actually continue on listening to this, tell us about this track. So it's Point North, your band, Hammer. Now, I was listening a lot to the artist that did this track as well. Nothing Nowhere. So tell us about the track.
It's so funny. John had the idea. He wanted to do like a cover of a song that wasn't rock and make it rock.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it as like a joke. Like, the song was like covered as a joke because it was gonna be fun and it was something to do. And then the label that we were with before Hopeless was like, we're gonna put it out and see how it does. And it just went crazy. And the song is so old that when I think of the drums, I think of the live version because it's so different, and we like arrange it differently with like hits and like if you're at a Point North show, you know that song. So we do like crowd moments and there's stops, but I'm interested in this now because I haven't like listened to the track itself in so long.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a quick look at it. Let's go.
Yeah.
I did it all on my own, no promo. I got fans getting tats on my logo. I remember when nobody came to my shows, but I kept coming back like a yo-yo. In high school, they would laugh, try to label. Eating lunch with nobody at my table. Everyone they used to doubt got a day job. I just made a few stacks off a merch drop.
Nice, man. So straight out of the gates, I don't know if you can even just talk about the way you play it live, I guess. But are you playing just 16th notes on the hats there?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, nice. That would feel pretty good, I reckon. Is that a pretty nice tempo to lay down some 16th hats?
It's cool too because it like it's hard to say. With this song and like a lot of my Point North writing, I try to find the gap of like having a crowd of people bounce their head and then like complementing the vocal melody. So with this song, there was already kind of a beat to it, and then rockifying it just like with the hats and the opens and the fills, it just like it tries to like it like ties a bow on like all of that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
I never talked about this, so
I love
don't
it.
know. Yeah.
That's why I do this stuff, because it's quite specific.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I mean, when I listen to the original, and I'll put some of the original in this so people can kind of hear the difference. This one slaps. You know, it's rocking, it's slapping, it's bopping. It's kind of the original, but on steroids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's exactly, I guess, what you were aiming for, and that's exactly what it is. It's sick. All right, let's keep rolling.
Yeah. Thank you.
They would laugh, try to label. Eating lunch with nobody at my table. Everyone they used to doubt got a day job. I just made a few stacks off a merch drop. It's about time if they go and take me serious. If you're not feeling this, you're probably delirious. I'm all one, yes I'm all one. They can never be me, cause I'm a Weeber. Bring your dreams, cause it's about
Now, I like how you've opened the hats up, loosening it up, building things up a little, building it up. Oh, let's keep rolling.
yes I'm all one. They can never be me, cause I'm a Weeber. Bring your dreams, cause it's about time to dream the cloud for sobriety. I can feel the hate building up, beats inside of me. I'm on one, yes I'm on one. They can never be me, cause I'm a Weeber. Bring your dreams, cause really gets on.
And how's just like a fill like that, just leading into the chorus? I love fills like that, man.
Yeah, simple.
Simple, fat, leaving the space. That's what that needs. That's what that gets.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And live too, I like play that fill sometimes, or I'll do this like crazy gospel chop into that chorus. Maybe it's the second chorus or whatever.
All right.
But like
You've just developed it over playing
Over
it live,
time.
right? Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So crazy to see.
Man, what a chorus. Like when you're playing this, does this song get a great reaction live?
Every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if like you haven't heard us and you don't know the song, everyone's always just like, it's you can't not bob your head to it, you know?
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, I love this song.
Mate, it's so good. We'll keep rolling. Nice. So adding more kicks in this one, right? Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. Following the guitar pattern.
Can I tell you like a secret I do when it comes to part writing?
Yeah, go.
So when I was at MI, I went to school at Musicians Institute. A teacher of mine said that anytime you go back to a repeating part of a song, you need to do something different for the ear, and it needs to change in about 10 seconds. That part goes with the rhythm automatically, and that was already in the song. But even like in the hi-hat of like how, especially live, of like how I play it and feel, I always have that in the back of my head of like, it needs to be different if I go back to this part. The second verse needs to be different, just so it's like new ear candy.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So with all that stuff, it's like I could play those parts and like keep the hi-hat closed, but opening it up with the da-da-doom, like it just gives it a whole new life to what's going on.
It does. That's
Yeah.
I love how it's quite a subtle change too, but it's a change. Yeah. I feel
But
like
you notice it, right?
you know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
This is sick.
Yeah.
No, but it's not like you know, there's a fine line between doing something different that works, it's subtle, and going, oh, I've got to do something different and doing something way different, you know, and stuffing it up. So you've nailed it with that. You've just added an extra little kick in there. It just bops a little. You're like, oh, this is fresh. You might be listening to it the first time going, I don't know why. I don't know what's changed, but I like this bit. You know,
It's so crazy to hear, man. I'm so glad you're telling me this stuff because like I never even think about that.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like other people listening to it and feeling this way. So that's
Yeah.
so heartwarming, man.
Yeah, Man, I'm a big fan. Let's keep ripping.
Went from selling beats and now I'm selling CDs. Know you see me, know you need me, but believe me, I feel like dying like my name Louise. It's about time if they go and take me serious. If you're not feeling this, you're probably delirious.
And you're catching the guitar accent there with the crash and snare.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes, I'm all one, they can never beat me 'cause I'm
Another one there. Love it.
Yep.
Let's listen to that section again, actually. That's tasty, man.
Yeah, think about like the music out of all the instruments. Like as you watch this,
Uh-huh.
like I'm very weirdly picky about like how things flow and how like each instrument reacts to each other. So this makes me happy that you notice these things.
Yeah. They're subtle, but they're delightful and tasteful, bro. You're nailing this. Let's have a listen again.
It's about time if they go and take me serious. If you're not feeling this, you're probably delirious. I'm all one, yes, I'm all one, they can never beat me 'cause I'm the Weeber when you're tree.
Oh my god. Even like that snare hit on the Reaper. Ba ba.
Yeah.
Like you're just catching that little vocal accent there.
Yes, I'm all one, yes, I'm all one, they can never beat me 'cause I'm the Weeber when you're tree.
That is sick, man.
Fun fact, I think I was like 19 or 20 when the song came out. I was young,
Right.
like really young. Yeah.
It's so funny because
And-
you're saying, oh, I was so young, you know. But this is like 2018. To me, 2018 feels like about a year ago. But to you were like
Yeah,
a
for sure.
teenager.
Well, think about too, like I think about when the song came out.
Mm.
It's so weird to hear, like when the song came out to where I'm at in my life now, like
Mm.
it's almost like a time capsule of how I felt and where I was at in my life at the time. And
Mhm.
it's so cool to think about now. Even like when I did Disposable Heroes, like from that to now,
Mm.
where I'm at in my life and my career and what I'm doing, I'm really thankful. I'm really blessed. So hearing you and us talking about this song, it's like it takes me right back to that, literally the time of like where we recorded all our drums at and like where we were as a band, and it's so cool, man. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Mate, my pleasure. And tell us about that. Like, where did you record this at? Where were you at? What was the band doing? Like, what type of shows were you doing? Like, had you had releases
Dude.
yet? Like, where were you at?
This is my first song that ever came out with me in Point North. Yeah.
Wow.
Weirdly. Yeah. Hammer.
And it slapped. And it slapped.
Yeah,
and it
dude.
still slaps.
Yeah, thanks.
Bro,
man.
I'm listening to
We
this.
did all-
I've been listening to this in the gym. I go to the gym and I just turn this on
Oh,
repeat.
sick.
Yeah.
You're gonna gain a couple inches on the biceps.
Mate,
you know?
just trying to keep up with you, big boy.
At this time, all of our drums. John was living in an apartment. He has a house now with with his own studio in it now.
Mhm.
But we did all of our drums in like Roland Heights, which is like super far east LA.
Hmm.
We did all of the first album there. We did every EP Point North did there. Yeah, and it was on an Orange County kit. Fun fact, an old like extended bass drum, like mint green Orange County kit. Yeah, everything was recorded like from that era. Like the album to EPs to Hammer was in that room with that drum set. Zildjian cymbals. I remember because I'm trying to think what I played on that song. That song in that era was very much like a custom 15-inch A hats, and I don't remember the cymbals or anything.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I have videos of me when I'm like 19 years old, 20 years old in that era. Like I recorded everything, so it's like me like in the camera. I'm all like no tattoos, super young, crazy hair, and it's such a wild thought to think about like back to that time. So yeah, it was all
man.
done there.
A lot's changed, I guess, both for your career and everything, and just even the way you look. Like you're tatted up now, short hair, tatted up, jacked.
Just
you know?
just finished my chest yesterday. So yeah.
Nice, man. And I mean, the reality of that is it's actually not that long ago, even though it feels like a long time ago. Like 4 years ago it's not that long in the grand scheme of things. So, man, it's been a big 4 years for you, brother.
I can't imagine like 5 years from now. So,
Mm.
I'm 24,
Mm-hmm.
and I think by the time I'm 30, like I don't know where I want to be. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, man.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I'm so lucky
Mm-hmm.
in such a like my mental state has changed a lot um, in the past 4 years, and I'm so grateful and so thankful. I always was,
Mm-hmm.
but with everything, especially recently, I just kind of just really centered myself and been like, I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
You know? I almost quit drumming like 3 times in the
Right.
last 4 years because I was like, I just don't see this going anywhere. I don't know where it's. Not to be vulnerable, you know what I'm saying, but like
It's great.
I literally almost quit drumming. Uh, if you want to hear a quick story, I've never told this story. If you'd like to hear
Do it. I'd love to.
So I have this place that I go in LA. It's on Mulholland Drive, and I like went there. I was in school and I went there before winter break, like going back home, and I just called out to the universe and I was like, I'm done playing drums. Like I don't think this is working out, and I think that I just need to go be a student and be like an A&R, go in the business industry.
Mm.
And I got this like weird gut feeling that was like, give it one more year, like, and you're gonna be okay.
Mm.
And I had one tour booked, and I remember it ended at Chain Reaction in LA. It was like, so this is in November, December that I like went to Mulholland Drive, and I had my manifestation spot. It's where like I go to just get out to the universe. And I went there, had that moment that was like something told me to wait a year, and then I went on winter break. January comes, I did the tour, and in my head I was like, I'm not going to force anything. I'm going to let things naturally come. And did the tour. I remember playing Chain Reaction, playing the last note, and being like, I'm done with drumming because nothing else is coming my way. Went home. I woke up the next day for an email for the Andy Black gig. And it was like such a weird, like, I get chills talking about it. Like, it was an email from Ozzy Osbourne's bass player, Blasco, who manages Andy. And there was basically like an offer, like world tour, Rockstar tour, Warp tour at the time. And that was the gig that I had to learn, like all the Ableton stuff.
Oh, no
Yeah.
way. And you're like, yep,
Isn't
I'm
that
in.
crazy?
Bro, that is
And I
crazy.
just said, yeah. And that was like one of the times I almost gave up. And then another time was like maybe about like a year ago, where I was like, maybe I should explore other things. I'm young enough and I just don't see anything happening. And then like something happened where I was like, okay, the universe put me in check.
Yep.
You know.
I feel like, man, I feel like a lot of drummers or musicians would feel like that. Like I've felt like that before. I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah. Like, am I doing the right thing? Could I have done something else? Should I have done
Yeah.
something else? But then I feel like it always grabs you and pulls you back in. And I just think that some people, potentially like you and me, are just meant to be drummers. You know, like I do a lot of other things. Yeah. But
Yeah.
some people are just kind of, you're meant to do it and that's what you're really good at and that's what you're meant to be doing. And sometimes your brain can get in the way and almost convince you that you're not meant to be doing that. But then it just always brings you back in. So you just got to lean into it and ride it out and hit the highs and the lows. And you know, the way you're going right now, you're hitting a lot of highs. And I also feel like the longer you work and the more work you put in and the more connections you make and the more groups you play for, the more things happen. Which is awesome. And even with myself now, exciting things get put on the table and they often happen now. Whereas back in the day, you know, exciting things would be put on the table and it wouldn't happen. Exciting thing would be put on the table, it wouldn't happen. But now I feel like the exciting things are put on the table and most of them happen. So, yeah man, I can relate to that because it's bloody hard as well because at certain times you're not really making any money. All like other people that are doing other jobs are getting ahead. They're setting themselves up, all that kind of stuff. And it gets in your head. You're like, you're just being silly, like chasing a dream that isn't going to happen. You have these moments, yeah?
Yeah, for me too, like I always live by this weird saying. It's sooner or later, wait, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you'll get a haircut. Like I always thought about that with gigs.
Yeah.
And then also kind of including what I said before in this, I've learned that every person has a gift and a passion. And your gift is the thing you do the best with the least amount of work. And your passion is the thing that fuels your gift. So like my passion is music, but now after going through everything and like how the universe has been like towards me recently and in the past, I know that playing drums is my gift. And inspiring others and helping, and music is the passion that fuels that, and wanting to be part of the bigger picture. But the gift is playing drums. As for you, like you're a drummer, dude. Like,
Yeah, man.
And that's how I kind of live by it now and think of it.
And
that makes sense.
It does, man. Another interesting thing you said was, you're not sure where you'll be in 5 years or where you want to be. I used to put time limits on myself. I'd be like,
same.
I'd be like, when I'm 35, I want to hit a certain point and look back on it, and I'll be done. That's it.
Yeah.
And I thought that my whole existence. Now I am 35 now, and now it's like, oh man, I'm nowhere near done. So I've kind of, there's a couple of things at play here. One is I've just gotten older and more mature, and I can just see music and drums being there forever. Like I'll play drums until I die, no matter how old.
Same, yeah.
How old and what gig I'm doing. The gigs might change. I might be doing a bloody different genre or not, the way things are going. Like even like you see Blink, they're 50, biggest band in the world, right?
Right.
I'm looking at that going, you can do this for as long as you're physically able, as long as there's, you don't even need an audience there. I guess there's just a different levels to everything, but you can just do it forever, man. So I kind of have gotten rid of the time restrictions that I had. So I guess my point is, to anyone listening, don't really put time restrictions on it. Just do what you think you want to do.
I used to fall to that super hard. I remember being 16, like, if I'm not in the headliner selling out arenas by 19, I'm a failure.
Yeah.
And as you grow as a musician, that's not the case. That's not
No,
how it happens. But now,
and
I think now, I think now, looking back, if I would be doing the things I wanted to do now when I was younger, I would have failed. I would have ruined the situations. I wouldn't have been mature enough or had the knowledge or just the way to act to make it happen. And it's like, I wish I could tell my younger self, like, when you do it, it's gonna be worth it because you'll be able to handle it. Yeah.
And you realize as you go throughout the journey, you learn so much about production, lighting, crew, the cost of everything, how everything works, how everything actually works, not how you think it works when you're 19. Like how it actually works. And then you see the people that are actually doing it, and they're generally all older. Like it's very rare for someone like Nessa's super young, obviously, and Landon's super young. But the people that are selling out arenas generally aren't 19. They're older because they've been doing it forever.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, and you have a warped sense of age when you're young as well, where you think, you think being 25 is old, but 25 like you're just starting, like you're so young. You know what I mean? Like seriously. It's an interesting topic of conversation, especially for musicians. Yeah. So what's next for Point North? What are you guys currently up to? I saw you released a single recently with those shows in California.
Yes. So album 2, my drums are done. The album is pretty much done. We're just doing like the vocal stuff and like the retracking from the pre-production. And it's a good record, man. I'll have to send you some stuff. It's really dope.
Sick.
It's heavy.
Yep.
It's our poppiest stuff. The next song, dude, I'll tell you off the record like later, but our next song has the sickest feature ever. Featuring a band for a guy you actually just did an interview with recently.
Oh, sick.
So it's a heavy band, and
sick.
That's the next thing, man.
Man,
and then
huge.
probably a tour next year, like always. And I have some cool stuff coming up, recording stuff I did that I can't really talk about right now, but I got a good next
chapter
months ahead. So
sick.
For sure.
Hey, I've got a question for you. Your spot on Mulholland Drive. Let's see. I love Los Angeles, man, and I've driven up Mulholland many times. And me and my girlfriend, we stopped. There's a few the road bends and there's some lookouts or whatever. We generally kind of stop around there and have a little bit of a look. Is that kind of near where your spot is? Are we talking around there?
So yeah, so my spot isn't like a public like
Right.
park here, go look.
Yep.
It's like you can't miss it, bro. Like it's literally like once you get past like okay, so let me explain. If you go on Mulholland Drive by like the Highlands like entrance on that side,
Mm-hmm.
because I live like right there.
Right.
If you go past up the hill, past I'm trying to think in my head, like the first tourist spot, and you keep going down, and it's right before Runyon Canyon.
Ah,
It's like this little opening in the clear.
Yeah.
I go there like.
Is that the Runyon
So I
Canyon
haven't-
where there's a house next to it, and then there's the gate, and there's the entrance to Runyon?
Yes.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
the spot. I got you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what I would do is I live right next to Mulholland Drive, like by Universal, but my drum studio is all the way in Beverly Hills. So at night, I used to do this thing. It's this weird manifest like thing I do. It's not weird, but some people probably think it's weird. I would drive from rehearsal, take the 405 up, and then take Mulholland. Actually, no, I take that back. I would drive through Bel Air, up Laurel Canyon to Mulholland, and I would always stop. It'd be like 1 a.m. I would practice until like 12, and then I would sit there at 1 a.m. and like just sit there, and I have a list of my manifest like dreams and goals in the back of my phone, like a phone case. And I always like, pull it out, and I would look, and just like if something happened, I would check it off.
Sick.
You know, or I would sit there at Mulholland, and you could see the entire city of LA. No one's around. And I would sit there and just like have a moment with like myself in the universe, and just like manifest and just like sit on things. And then it's just weird. Like I'm not like a crazy spiritual person. But
No,
I
man,
just
that
notice
sounds
what
that
works, you
sounds
know?
like epic, bro. I love that stuff because I love the view up there. I know the vibe up there, so I'm resonating with what you're saying. I want you to like pin drop it to me because I want to go there.
I will.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's I think of my life like I like to think of my life as like this like personal movie that I would like to watch at the end of the day. Or if I'm like living my life like a book, would I like to read it when it's all done? And that might sound weird or whatever, but just like ever since I was a kid, I've loved the idea of like trying to make my life as like fulfilled and full as possible. And I just realizing what works. And when it comes to like my thoughts, like your thoughts, and when you wish for things and you write down, like they will come true. And I've noticed that like down to the specifics of like certain things that I've written down, and they'll come true. But then you have to be careful what you wish for, because like if you want something but you don't specify, you only get what you wanted. It's a whole thing. We can talk later about this like on our own, but
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you on that. I think that like I was doing the 5-minute journal there for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that, and I'm pretty clear with what I want as well. And I think like writing it down, looking at it, seeing it, and thinking about it all the time. Which is awesome, but can be also annoying because all I'm thinking about is how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do this? Oh, I've got to do that. I've got to do that. But then I guess you're kind of thinking about what you want, and then you kind of have a reality, like the scope of what it is and what needs to be done in order to get there, and you just getting there. You're just getting there bit by bit, ticking things off. And when they happen, you sit back, and it's the best feeling in the world. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted to do this, and I've done it.
It's to add on to that fun like little thing. A thing that I'll probably announce soon, and a tour I'm doing next year. I had written that down, like to work with that artist and to do a tour with them, because they don't have a drummer; it's a DJ. So I was like, I want to tour with this DJ and play shows with this DJ. They never have a band though, so I don't know how it happened. And but like 4 years ago, bro, I wrote that down in my like journal. I was like, one day I'm gonna play drums with this guy.
Sick.
Sure enough, he hit me up and was like, I'm doing my biggest tour ever. Like, I want you to play drums for me. And it was just, I was like, I can't believe like that's a real thing. Like that's happening, you know?
Sick.
Just like you were saying, you know? It's the timing of everything is crazy.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll have a moment when those shows happen, when you're playing, it's a massive show. It's you and the DJ or whatever, and there's flames going off, and crowds losing their marbles. You'll just be sitting there going, whoa.
Yeah.
And you get a
it's
nice,
cool.
Yeah, nice feeling.
We're doing pyro for this tour, and like just the whole shebang. It's crazy. And I'm just stoked to be a part of it, man. I get to rock out and play drums and just have fun, man. And live something that I worked for, and it's really
enjoy
cool.
it. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
100%, man. Now, quick one, just off the cuff.
Yeah.
Drumming. Did you teach yourself? Did you have a drum teacher? Were you first thing actually? Did you grow up in LA, or are you from somewhere else?
I'm from the Midwest, so
Right.
like Illinois, Iowa area.
Right, and
But
back
I'm
there,
self-taught.
self-taught. Okay, so what was the process? Were you in a room on a old crappy kit, practice kit? What were you doing?
So this is kind of funny. I remember my parents split up, and when I was like 11, I've been playing since I was 4. And my dad is a drummer, but I never took lessons from him because I was like, I don't want to be that kid that like takes lessons from his dad who's a drummer.
Heaps of kids are like that. I teach drums.
Yeah.
I got a lot of drummers' kids come here just because it's good for them to hear it from someone else.
So what I did, my upbringing was like, I didn't really have many friends. I was really like involved. I had friends, but like they didn't have the same interests. So from when I was like 7 to like 12, I would come home from school every day. And then from 3 to 9, I would just play drums all day. I would look up YouTube videos.
Oh yeah,
I think
I got you. I got you back.
All right. 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, cool. Cool, great.
Yeah, 3 to 9 every day. Yep, got ya.
Wait, we good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I would play drums every day from like 3 to 9, and then I would do Slipknot songs. I had the rack. I want to be Joey Jordison so bad.
Sick.
and I would just play punk songs. I would play No Effects and Bad Religion and just rock and punk. And then I slowly morphed into like hip hop. And then when I was 12, I joined a ska band, and by the time I was 13, I was like touring, like
Sick.
crappy band, playing basement shows. Like, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
That was kind of my upbringing though. And I was self-taught till I went to college, and then I took drum lessons from this guy named Gordon Campbell, who did American Idol, and he did like Demi Lovato and Earth, Wind and Fire. It was cool. Yeah.
Was that out in LA? Is that why you moved to LA to study?
Yeah. So I moved to LA when I was 18, just on my own. I didn't know anybody, and I like got a really bad studio apartment on Hollywood and Highland, and literally just like did the stereotypical like kid comes from the Midwest to like pursue a music career. And I went to MI, got my bachelor's there, and did the thing. I think my first pro gig I got was like a Disney girl at like 18 or 19, something like that. Yeah, it was cool. I just kind of immersed myself in it as much as I could, and just
and here you are.
Thinking about this time is crazy to me.
Man, that's a crazy journey. Well, brother, I'm gonna have to bounce off because I reckon my camera's gonna go flat in a minute. So what I will say is, man, it was epic to chew the fat with you, sit down and actually have a great chat to you today, man. This was an epic episode, heaps of great insight. And well done on all of the success, man, and the journey. As I said, I've been watching for a while now, and it just seems to be growing and growing and growing and growing. So I love it, man. As you know, I'll be in your DMs. I'm always in your DMs, just cheering you on, mate. Like I am with all the other the other drummers, just in there. Just I love watching it. I'm obviously very very far away. So I love keeping up with it, man. But mate, I'll hopefully be out there soon, and we can catch up. We'll get Christian on board, and we'll catch up. Or if you come into Oz, definitely we'll catch up.
Where are you at?
Man, I'm in Melbourne. Where your uncle's at?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, I'll see you soon then. I'm gonna come see you for sure.
Yeah, man, 100%. Like, this is my city, brother. But yeah, man, awesome to chat, bro, and I appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy man, so I'll let you get to your other rehearsal.
Okay. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, dude. I really appreciate it. And we'll have to do one of these again like a year from now and see what's up.
100%.
With both of our lives.
Mate, I'll have to chase down your people by that stage. I'll just,
No.
I'll have to go through a couple of your people to get to you, but mate, I'll be there anyway. I'll be in your DMs, man.
Of course, man.
Good
Same
to see you, brother.
Dude, for sure.
Great
Awesome,
chat.
man.
We'll chat to you afterwards.
Thanks, dude.
Cheers, man. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
jumping on. Bye, mate. Bye.
Yeah.
Like a motherfucking hammer.